Good morning po sa lahat ng mga kadete from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Especially po yung mga first year, freshmen po natin, ng mga estudyante under the criminology program. Sa lahat po ng mga professors, mga lecturers, sa mga review centers, mga part-time instructors, guest lecturers po. Pati na yung mga estudyante natin who will be taking the criminologist licensure examination po. Sa lahat po ng mga estudyante po natin, second year, third year, fourth year, welcome po sa Biqueno. Ito po ang platform the only platform po sa YouTube na libre po ang lahat ng mga video discussions. Yung ibang mga channel po are requiring for an amount for you to access the videos. Pero dito po, 365 days in a year, 24/7, libre po lahat. No need to pay anything. But I really appreciate po mga kadete pag hindi kayo mag-skip ng ads Pag hindi kayo mag-skip ng ads, I really appreciate it. That's the only way that you can return the favor. Pero again, ligasiya po natin kasi po may marami po tayong mga estudyante pa lang or nakapag-graduate na. Pero walang pera walang pera pag-enroll sa review center. Walang pera pang final coaching. Napakamahal po kasi. Ang review po natin ngayon, average po, siguro ang pinakamura, mga kadete, is 10,000. Pag may final coaching, with final coaching, siguro abot yan ng 15,000. Pag may virtual review, mas lesser po yung babayarin. Pero pag face-to-face, minsan nga may mga review centers na naghihingi po ng 20,000 with final coaching na po yan. So, napakamahal. Ang mahal po. So, all you have to do sa nag-graduate na po, all you have to do is to learn again, to review with me yung mga topics po na na-discuss by your instructors when you were still in your college days. Sa mga estudyante pa lang mga kadete na mga estudyante pa, huwag kayong maging kumpiyansa kahit first year ka pa lang or second year, ang gagawin mo, mag-advance study ka na. Okay? Andito lang naman yung mga video discussions. It is advantageous pag i-prepare mo na yung sarili mo para sa board examination. Kasi pag nag-prepare ka after graduation medyo huli na ang lahat. Mas okay kasi pag ngayon, you already hone yourself, you go with the review materials, you go with the video discussions, tapos you review everything or you make an advanced study so that pag nag-second year ka or third year ka, pag first year ka pa lang pag nag-second year ka, third year ka, din nakapagawa ka na ng advanced study, mas easy na po. Okay? Mas easy na po. So anyway, wala namang bayad po ang mga video discussions po natin. Libre na mga kadete very comprehensive pa as you can see. Very comprehensive. Hindi ko po kayo binibitin po in terms of the discussion. Alright? So, this is the last discussion natin, last episode. Tapos na po tayo sa 1, 2. And this is the third episode, pinaka-last po na discussion natin sa Intro to Criminology or Introduction to Criminology. This time ang istudyohan po natin or i-review po natin sa mga magti-take ng board exams. I-review po natin is yung theoretical explanation, and we will touch about Republic Act 11131 and about criminal law. Okay? Criminal law. Alright? Now, without further ado, puntahan natin ang mga teorya, mga assumption na magdi-discuss kung bakit ang tao will commit crime. Theoretical explanations of criminality. By the way po, mga kadete, may subject po tayo na tinatawag na theories of crime causation, especially yung mga first year. Ang theories of crime causation, andun po lahat ng mga teorya that will explain why a person will commit crime. May discussion din po tayo dyan. Okay. Considering na intro lang po ito, intro to criminology, ibig sabihin, we will only be talking those major theories that will explain crime. Okay? Isa sa pinaka-major theory, itong DAT or DAT, Differential Association Theory by the Dean of Modern Criminology. Sino ba yung Dean of Modern Criminology? Hindi yung Dean nyo sa college. Ang Dean po natin of Modern Criminology, walang iba kundi si Mr. Edwin. Si Edwin yan. Si Edwin Sutherland. Okay? Ano ba ang DAT or Differential Association Theory? From the word association. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng association? Meaning you interact, you mingle, you talk, okay? You go along. That's basically association. So, sabi dito, sa that, criminal behaviors are learned through association with groups or members of the society. So the manner how we associate, it could lead us to learning behaviors. And these behaviors might be criminal or deviant behaviors. For example, common po ito example. Estudyante ka, high school ka at saka elementary, andyan ka pa po sa residence, sa bahay ng mga magulang mo. So basically, ang discipline, respect, di ba? God-fearing, yung integrity, honesty, andyan po lahat ng mga moral ascendancy sa bahay. Let us say, nung nag-college ka na, you have to enroll in a university 100 kilometers from your house. So basically, it would be impractical pag uuwi ka every day, alright? So it's gonna be impractical. So you are going to stay in an apartment or in a boarding house. Okay. Pag mayaman, apartment. Pag pobre, dito lang tayo sa boarding house. So pag nagkataon, nandyan ka sa boarding house, you will be staying there for the entire 4 years. Pero ang problema, yung boardmate number 1 mo, boardmate number 2, boardmate number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, up to 20 boardmates mo, lahat po umiinom. Umiinom, nagbabarkada, naninigarilyo. But when you were still in your residence, sa house mo, sa mga magulang mo, you are very respectful, God-fearing. Pero pumunta ka ngayon, nakipagsalo ka, nakipag-associate ka sa mga taong having these characteristics like gamblers, alcoholics, smokers. I tell you, kahit naging spiritual ka na tao, way back nung nasa high school at elementary ka, pagdating mo sa college, knowing that you mingle and you associate yourselves with these persons, I tell you, time will come, you will develop the behavior of an alcoholic, the behavior of a gambler, the behavior of a drug addict, so on and so forth. Why? Because you associate. You mingle. Pero pag andyan ka po, but you do not mingle with these people, of course, you are not going to learn anything. You're not going to be affected with a criminal behavior considering na hindi ka nakapag-mingle. Ang punto dito, mga kadete, nakipag-associate ka, nakipag-mingle ka, nakipag-interact ka. Pero kapag hindi ka naman nakapag-interact, kahit 1 billion yung tao dyan na drug addict, pero hindi ka nakapag-interact sa these drug addict individuals, wala namang mangyayari sa'yo. Okay? So, may kasabihan nga, tell me your friends and I will tell you your future. Kasi po, yung friends mo, kung ano yung nota ng utak, kung ano yung laman ng pag-iisip, kung ano yung manner of actions ng mga friends mo, yung mga friendships sa kabarkada mo dyan, that will also be the same characteristics that you have as a person. Kasi po, even if you are a sheep, and you mingle and associate with the foxes, time will come, you are going to develop the characteristic of being a fox. Kaya nga, ang friendly advice ko, sa mga first year pa lang sa mga first year, try to choose your friends who are having the ideal characteristics. Yung mga characteristics po na ideal. Pag alam po na natin na medyo kapos po tayo sa IQ, alam po natin na medyo kapos po tayo sa IQ, you mingle and associate yourselves with the bright ones. I'm not saying that you will become a bright individual. No. I'm not saying that you'll become the most intelligent person in the university. But my point is, even though medyo low IQ po tayo, but we associate ourselves with the bright people, time will come, we will develop the characteristics, the behaviors of these bright individuals. Ano ba mga behaviors ng bright individuals? Di ba pupunta yan ng library? Di ba nagbabasa yan? Di ba nagsastudy? Nag-aaral yan from time to time. Di ba? Yun ang mga characteristics ng mga bright individuals. So ikaw na medyo low IQ ka, pagdating ng panahon, Knowing that you associate with these people, time will come, you will become studious. You will become a person who is a reader. Wide reader ka ngayon. Ikaw yung tao na mahilig magbasa. Ikaw yung tao mahilig mag-aral. Kasi po, you develop the characteristics. You learn the characteristics of this group. So yun po, choose your friends very wisely sa mga first year. Huwag yung pabunjing-bunjing lang. Bunjing-bunjing lang. No? Yung mga taong walang pakialam sa buhay. Okay? Sunod, Social Disorganization Theory by Henry Mackay and Clifford Shaw. Okay, ito Ang sabi dito, pag isang lugar is plagued, ang sabihin ng plagued, ang plague po is marami, talagang marami. Sa other translation nito, synonym, parang curse. Okay, parang cursed. Cursed or plagued with poverty, economic deprivation, tend to experience high rates of population turnover. Ano sabi dito? Pag pobre ang lugar, yung economic deprivation kulang. Yung economic is kulang. Okay? Economic deprivation. So, talagang pobre. Kasi mayroong economic deprivation. Ang mangyari dito, magkaroon ng high rates of population turnover. Pinasip, high rates of population turnover, ibig sabihin dyan, posibleng dadami yung populasyon sa isang lugar. Okay? Pag dadami yung populasyon sa isang lugar, there's a big possibility na yung informal social structure po will fail to develop. Okay? For example, ano ba yung informal social structure? Let's say, for example, the family is an example of informal social structure. Yung mga organization, okay? Yung barangay, yung business institution, it states that yung mga informal social structures na mga ito will fail to fully develop and in turn makes it difficult to maintain social order in a community. For short, ibig sabihin ng social disorganization, ang isang society na disorganisado has the following characteristics. Una, poverty. Pangalawa, high population turnover, unemployment, teenage pregnancy, overpopulation. Yun po ang sabi, if you will read the Social Disorganization Theory by Mackay and Shaw, yan po talaga ang characteristics ng a socially disorganized community. Pag nakatira ka po dyan, sa social disorganized community, you might develop a deviant behavior. Kasi po, walang social order. Ang DAT, or Differential Association Theory, is learning behavior through association. Pero dito, na-develop ang criminal behavior because of where you are living. Yung residence mo. Pag residence na yan, sa board examination, residence will matter, social disorganization theory. Of course, pag nakatira ka ngayon sa isang community na walang characteristics ng socially disorganized society, basically, mas malayo ka sa krimen. Okay? So, ang key po natin is saan ka po nakatira. O, yan po, social disorganization na yan. Sunod, na-discuss ko na po yung anomy theory in episode 2. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng A? A means absence. Nome means norms. Ano ba yung norms? Standards ng society. These are unwritten laws. Bakit unwritten? Kasi nga hindi yan nakasulat. Walang batas na nag-regulate sa ganyang behavior. For example ng norms, being respectful sa mga magulang natin, greetings, magsasabi tayo na good morning, good afternoon, good evening pag nakasalubong tayo ng mga matatanda. Pero, pag we do not observe these norms, magka-anomy po. Pag ang norms po is confusing, unclear, or not present, crime will occur. Okay? Pag hindi na po kasi po these are just trivial, it may seem, or very it's just very minor thing to do or to observe, pero it has big impact po yung norms. For example, being respectful. Di ba pag respectful ka, you tend to be a law-abiding citizen of the country, right? If you are a person who is honest, di ba? Honesty is basically a part of a social norm. Honesty is something that will that will help you prevent the commission of criminality. So pag ang norms po hindi klaro na, confusing na, crime will occur. The lack of norms or pre-accepted limits of behavior in a society led to deviant behavior. Bakit po? Wala nang limitasyon. Okay? Wala nang limitasyon ha, yung behavior. Nung araw, di ba? Nung araw, sa mga babae, I'm sorry ha, nung araw po, pag babae ka, yung lower clothing mo, usually from the waistline yan, paputang ankle. Yun po ang sabi ng mga magulang ko po, they're very respectful. Nung araw nga, pag mamanhikan yan, or courtship, yan, courtship. Ang courtship po noon is that you will be bringing with you a guitar. If you don't know how to play the guitar, banjo, or ukulele. Pumunta ka ngayon sa bahay ng magagandang dilag, doon ka, kakanta ka doon, kahit out of tune ka. Very formal. Kasi ang principle nung araw, seek ye first the parents and the daughter shall be given unto you. Yun po ang principle nung araw. Di ba? Pero ngayon, nako, wala na. Itinaboy na yung parents. Seek ye first the cellphone. Seek ye first the cellphone. And the chicks will be given to you. Pag iPhone 14 ka, pag naka-Inmax ka, pag naka-Toyota Vios ka, gumaganda ka ngayon, naging guwapo ka, pag marami kang pera, nako, di ba? Very common yan. Wala na po yung norms, nawawala. Noong araw, pag naliligo yung mga babae, nako, naka-shorts lang yan, naka-t-shirt yan. Pero ngayon, kasi we wanted to adopt the westernized, I don't know, kind of culture and custom, which I do not understand. Pag naliligo, di ba, naka-two-piece na lang. Tapos yung mga sniper, di ba? Pagdating ngayon, madaming sniper sa sa tabi-tabi, di nang snipe, di ba? So, yun nga, confusing na. Wala na po yung moral ascendancy natin. We are now on moral decay. Nawawala na po yung norms. Kaya po ang dami ng mga taong who are having deviant behaviors. Okay? Next, demonology theory. Na-discuss na din po yan. Ibig sabihin, people commit crimes because they are in the influence of evil spirits. Okay? Evil spirits or demons. Or they are possessed by demons. Labeling theory, on the other hand, it states that the reaction of other people and the immediate effects of these reactions create deviance. Ibig sabihin, kung ano yung reaksyon ng ibang tao, ang reaksyon na yan could actually have an effect on a person. And that effect could be deviance. Okay? How we label. Ano ibig sabihin ng how we label? For example, pag sinabihan mo yung isang tao na boy kawatan, okay? Kahit in real life, hindi naman siya kawatan. Okay? Hindi naman siya magnanakaw. But you label him as boy magnanakaw or boy kawatan, even if he is not in real life. Time will come, the person will live in accordance to the label or with the label. If you tell a person as, let us say, boy bololyagon in Cebuano, o boy kulit, o boy sutil, right? Time will come that the person will become a sutil. If you will say, this person is let us say, this person is a murderer, but in reality, he is not. Time will come, he will become a murderer. Because the person will now live in accordance with the label. Kasi nasa isip na niya eh. Gagawin ko na lang. Anyway, this is the label of me. This is the label towards me by the community. Why not do it? In a way, yung community is presuming na magnanakaw ako, but in reality, hindi nga. So, knowing that they are labeling me with being as a thief, then why not do it anyway? So, yun po. Pangalawa, sa labeling theory kasi, it could irritate the individual. When you say a person as boy buktot, o boy bakol, in Cebuano po yan. Or you will say, boy sunog. Yung boy sunog po, ibig sabihin yung mga maitim na mga tao. This could irritate the individual. Alright? So, when you say boy baboy, kasi nga mataba, that could irritate the person. And that label is something that would give an effect to him, a negative effect, to the point that he will punch the other guy because he has already been irritated. Okay? Labeling theory po yan. Next, strain theory. It postulates that crime is a function of the conflict between the goals people have and the means they can use to achieve them. Now, sa strength theory po, may tinatawag kasi tayong the American dream, living the American dream. For short, ibig sabihin ng living the American dream, living in a comfortable life. Okay? Mayaman ka, mapera, may kotse ka, you live in a luxurious house. Yun po, it's living an American dream. Now, kasi po, may mga pressures ang community being set. These pressures could result to a person committing the crime. Why does pressures could result to criminality? Ganito po yan. Ang tao po, may goals. Okay? Tapos may means po. When you say means, I'm referring to the strategies in order to achieve the goal. For example, pag ang goal mo is to get a non-professional driver's license, ano ba yung means? Ang means po, you enroll for a theoretical driving course or TDC. After you have the TDC, pupunta ka sa LTO, you take the written exam, you take the road test. Diba? Pero, nung pumunta ka ngayon sa LTO, it so happened that you failed in the written examination. Na-failed ka. Ibig sabihin, there is now a strain between the goal and the means. Kasi nga po, you failed. Yung failure mo is now a strain. A strain between the goals and the means. So, hindi mo makuha yung goals. Considering nga, nagka-strain ka nga. You failed in the written examination. So, ang resulta po dyan, the person will resort to criminality and achieve the same goal. So, ano ang gagawin ng tao? He will resort to fixer or bribery. The result is, nakuha niya ngayon yung non-professional driver's license, pero yung means na ginamit niya is already a deviant or a criminal in nature. So, yun po strength theory po yan. Now, why did I talk about pressure? Pressure coming from the society. Kasi nga po, ang sabi dito, ang community kasi, may mga standards yan that you have to follow. May mga protocols yan. For example, ang community is pressuring you that as much as possible, you finish your education. As much as possible, you should live in a convenient and comfortable life. So, for short, ang isa sa mga pressure that could push a person to commit criminality is yung pressure na maging mayaman yung isang tao. Right? So, lahat po maging mayaman. Kasi po, ang yaman po is sometimes the measurement in terms of respect. Pag mayaman ka, mataas yung respeto. Pag walang pera, walang respeto. So, yung goal mo ngayon is to become rich. Yung means mo, it could either be number 1, you invest in a business, or number 2, magkipagtapos ka ng eskwela, tapos kukuha ka ng isang magarang trabaho. Trabaho na may malaki ang sweldo. Pero, let us say, yung goal mo maging mayaman, pero yung means mo nagka-strain. Bakit po? Wala kang pera, hindi ka makapag-invest ng negosyo. Number 2, hindi ka makapag-aral kasi wala kang pera. So, nagka-strain ngayon. So, kukuha ka ngayon ng isang strategy na deviant or criminal in nature in order to get your goal. So, anong gagawin mo? You sell drugs. You sell illegal firearms. Naging mayaman ka nga, pero yung strategy mo is already considered as, criminal. Okay? Alright, so yun po. Strain theory po yan. Next! Geographical causes of crimes. Ito. Diba sabi ko in episode 1, criminal ecology. Anong ibig sabihin ng eco? Environment. O, criminal ecology, ibig sabihin relationship between environment and crime. Sa mga libro na nagsasabi na ang criminal ecology is a special distribution of crime in the society, nako. Tatantarin ko yung libro na yan. Mali po yan. When you say eco, ibig sabihin dyan, environment. So, hindi yan special distribution. Yung special distribution, yung criminal epidemiology. Maraming ang lecturer sa review Nagkakamali dito Klarong-klaro na, criminal nga Criminal, ecology. Ecology nga Eco. Ano ba yung ecology? Study of the environment. Plus, pinagdugtong sa word na criminal. So, crime and environment yan, mga choy. Huwag nyo gawing special distribution. Nagkamali sa libro, din nyo naman chinek. Ang nangyari, you are multiplying the error. So again, yung criminal ecology relationship between crime and environment. So, ang environment ba? May relasyon sa krimen? The answer is yes. Kasi kung ano yung nasa environment po natin, that will affect our behavior. For example, pag environment nyo is mataas yung init, yung temperature. Sabi dito, pag mataas yung temperature, posibleng mataas yung krimen. Bakit po? Pag mainit kasi ang panahon, mainit yung ulo, di ba? That's very realistic, di ba? It's very realistic. Pag mainit yung panahon, mainit yung ulo, di ba? Pag malamig yung panahon, malamig din yung ulo. Di ba? So, pag mataas ang panahon, mataas yung krimen. So, during summer, April and May, kasi tag-init yan, mainit yung temperatura. Pag April and May, mataas yung crimes against person. Nagsusuntukan yan, nagpapatayan yan, kasi easily irritated, mainit yung panahon. Pero, during rainy season at tag-ulan, kasi marami po sa mga Pinoy, wala po tayong hanap buhay during rainy season, especially yung mangingisda, di ba? Or yung mga taong having their occupation in the streets. Medyo, kapos po talaga tayo sa pera pag tag-ulan. So, gutom yung sikmura. So, yung tao po, during rainy season, there's a big possibility that he will commit crimes against property. Magnakaw po para lang po makakain. For example, yung sa Yolanda typhoon, di ba? Yung mga residents ng Tacloban na resorted to looting some stores para lang makakain. So yung that's an example. So basically, during rainy season po sabi dito, mas mataas yung crimes against property. But when summer season comes in, mas mataas po yung tinatawag nating crimes against property. Crimes against person pala. Crimes against person. Okay? Again, crimes against person, mataas pag summer. Crimes against property, mataas pag rainy season. Okay. Klaro po yan. Sunod, soil formation crimes are more in fertile land than in hilly, rugged terrain. Sabi dito, mas mataas yung nasa fertile na lupa compared to hilly, rugged terrain. Ano bang explanation nito? Simple lang. Under criminal demography, the relationship between crime and population, of course, mas marami kasi ang nanirahan sa fertile land compared sa hilly, rugged terrain. Di ba? Pag ikumpara mo Cebu at saka Siquijor, di ba? Sa bukid, mas maliit po yung population po natin. Kaya nga maliit yung krimen. Pero sa mga fertile, for example, in cities, mas mataas po yung krimen. Again, mas violente po ang krimen during warm months. Yun po ang geographical causes of crimes. Alright? Next, sociological causes of crimes. These are very common ones. Lack of parental guidance, mga kadete, that is a precursor to criminality. Broken homes, kumpleto yung pamilya, pero dumating yung panahon na yung pagiging kumpleto was affected by the death of one of the members, like yung ama or yung ina is, nag-rest na or pumanaw na. So basically, yung broken homes po could also become a precursor to criminality. Kulang yung employment opportunities. Influence of mass media. Nako, mga kadete, huwag kayong maniwala sa mga advertisements. 99% of it are actually exaggerated. Pag naniwala ka ngayon na pag uminom ka ng isang soft drink, tapos nagiging Hercules ka, pag inom mo ng isang soft drink, I will not name the soft drink baka mano ako eh. Pag inom ng soft drink, pumunta ka ngayon sa gitna, andyan yung train. Tapos, nung parating na po yung train, all you have to do is just stand still at the midst of the road. Bumaga sa'yo yung train, di ba? Giba yung train. Kasi nakapag-inom ka ng isang, di ba? Or, pag nakapag-spray ka ng isang underarm deodorant, di ba nahulog yung mga angels? Anong klaseng mga advertisements? Lahat po or almost all of the advertisements are exaggerated. ang mga movies po natin, pag violente po yung mga movies natin, so it could also affect the behaviors of the viewers. Pero pag pang-romance, pang-romance din po yun. Pag Korean, pag K-pop po, mas mahilig ka sa K-pop, nako, pati yung tono ng boses mo when you communicate, parang Korea na din. You will be affected. Your behaviors will be basically affected. And others, influence of the church, school, so on and so forth, these are sociological causes of criminality. Okay? Pero hindi cause yung, yung influence of the school and church, hindi po yun cause. But then again, it's a sociological factor that could also affect the behavior of the individual. All right. Next, formula of crime by Abrahamson. Ito. S plus T over R. When you say S, that refers to situation. T refers to tendency. And R refers to resistance. So, situation plus tendency over resistance. Ibig sabihin, pag may situation, for example, andyan yung cellphone, naiwan ng kasama mo or naiwan by somebody, tapos you have the impulse, yung impulse mo po, yun po ang tendency that you will commit theft. Tapos, yung resistance po natin, yung superego, medyo weak po yung resistance o yung superego natin. Then, the result would be crime. Pero pag may situation, may tendency, pero strong naman yung resistance mo not to commit theft, then basically, wala pong krimen. One element is eliminated, automatic, wala pong krimen na mangyayari. For example, may tendency ka, gusto kang magnakaw, yung resistance mo is very weak, pero wala namang situation, of course, you cannot commit theft. So, yun po. Anatomy of crime is intent, instrumentality, and opportunity. Yun po kindly memorize it Intent, instrumentality, and opportunity. Yun po ang anatomy. Formula is crime is equal to situation plus tendency over resistance. Alright? So, as mentioned a while ago, kasi intro to crime to, we will be talking about law or criminal law. Pero hindi lahat po hindi lahat po ang i-mention po natin. But only a few kasi intro po ito. But yung comprehensive discussion about criminal law, lahat po ng topic nasa criminal law na recorded video discussion po. Okay? You can refer to it later. Alright? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng law? General rule of conduct. Ano ibig sabihin ng general rule of conduct? Meaning, it will regulate po sa behavior. Ruling po, regulation po, kung paano po tayo mag-behave in the society. Yun po, general rule of conduct. Number 2, just. Bakit po just? When you say just, impartial or walang pabor-pabor. Walang favoritism, fairness po. Okay, yan po. Just. Obligatory. Bakit obligatory? Because whether you like it or not, even if you are handsome, ugly, educated, not educated, literate, illiterate, rich or poor, kahit anong estado mo sa buhay, you have to follow the law. You are obliged to follow the law kasi po obligatory yan. Sunod, laid by legitimate power for common observance and benefit. Sino ba yung gumagawa ng batas? Yung Senado tsaka yung Congress. These are the legislative bodies responsible in crafting of the law. Ano po ba ang purpose? Bakit po ginawa na craft yung mga batas? Para po for the common observance and benefit. Common observance, lahat po mag-observe. Ano ba yung benefit? Safety and security. Yun po ang benefit. So, law. Yan po ang definition po natin Now, may tatlo tayong basic principles of application of criminal laws. Kadet sa pag-comprehensive discussion about exemptions on these three characteristics can refer to Criminal Law Book 1 na discussion. I'll just give you the bird's eye view po sa mga basic principles or basic characteristics. Una, generality. Sa mga first year, pag generality po, ibig sabihin dyan, lahat po will observe the law. Okay? Ibig sabihin, the law will apply to everybody. Okay? Will apply to everybody. Kaya tinatawag siyang generality. Kahit ano ka, mayaman or pobre ka man, you have to follow the law because the law will apply to you kasi nga po, generality. Okay? Pero may mga exception yan sa generality. For example, pag bata ka, of course, you are exempted. Pag insane ka or suffering from imbecility, of course, you are exempted from generality. Number 2, territoriality. Ibig sabihin ng territoriality, mga kadete, first year lang ha. Ibig sabihin ng territoriality, ang batas po natin is only applied within the territorial limits of the Philippine country. Territorial limits lang ha. So, ibig sabihin, pag nakomit siya ng krimen, Pinoy, nag-commit siya ng krimen sa ibang bansa, hindi po siya punishable in the Philippines because the crime was committed outside the territorial limits of the country. Kailanganin pong nasa territorial limit. So, foreigner ka man or aliens, foreigners or aliens or Pinoy, so long as you are within the territorial limits of the Philippines, you are bound by the Philippine law. Okay, yun po, territoriality. Prospectivity, ibig sabihin dyan that the law has no retroactive effect. Ano ibig sabihin ng no retroactive effect? Hindi po babalik ang batas sa mga acts not considered to be a crime. Ibig sabihin, yung isang behavior not considered to be a crime, pagdating ng panahon na mayroong batas that regulates the same behavior, ang behavior which was not considered as a crime in the past is not punishable. Okay? For example lang ha, para mas maintindihan po sa mga first year. Example po, let us say, yung mandatory helmet law. Yung mag-drive ka, di ba? Mandatory helmet yan. Mandatory helmet law was enacted or approved. Example lang po ha, I'm not sure of the date. Example lang po, 2012 na enact yung mandatory helmet law. On the year 2000, wala ka, hindi ka nag-helmet. Year 2000. So, nung year 2000, wala pang mandatory helmet law, hindi ka nag-helmet. Pagka 2012, dumating yung mandatory helmet law. Ang tanong ngayon, pwede ka bang, or will somebody file a complaint against you kasi year 2000, hindi ka nag-helmet? Ang sagot, hindi po. Kasi po, nung hindi ka nag-helmet, it was not yet considered as a crime. Okay? So, yun po. Noong araw, wala pa yung anti-voyeurism law. Diba? May dalawang dyan, sikat na personality sa Pilipinas. Yung lalaki, I will not mention the name. I will not mention the names. Yung isa, artista. Yung isa is doktor. Tapos may sex scandal sila. Diba? Na yung issue, popped out way back 2009. Kasi nire-record ng lalaki nung nagsisexual intercourse silang dalawa. Dinujog-jog siya ngayon. Dinodog style. Diba? Year 2009. So galit yung babae, nag-file ng kaso. Nag-file ng kaso sa lalaki pero dinismiss yung kaso kasi nga po, yung act was not considered as a crime kasi nga walang batas. Dumating ang panahon, nagkaroon ng Republic Act 995, yung anti-voyeurism law, nag-file uli yung babae kasi may batas na. Pero, again, na-dismiss yung kaso kasi nga po, the law has no retroactive effect. Nung araw kasi, nung nagre-record siya, hindi pa yun krimen. So ngayon, ngayong araw, in our present time, after the passage of 995, pag magre-record ka, patay ka. Kasi krimen na yan. Pero the law will not punish previous acts not considered as a crime. Okay? Yun po. Prospectivity po yan. So, ito ha, logomasi. Lumabas ito, 2010 board examination. It states that there is no crime if there is no law and we can only abolish crime by abolishing the law. Ano sabi nito? There is no crime if there is no law. Walang krimen pag walang batas. Mawala lang yung krimen pag mawala yung batas. Di ba? Tama naman. So pag magtatanong yung mga buang sa inyo, sabihin nila, ano ang nauuna? Manok or itlog? Ano ang nauuna? Batas or krimen? Of course, ang nauna is yung batas. Kasi nga, pag walang batas, wala yung krimen. Di ba? Ano ang nauna? Manok o itlog? Sa mga bobo, ang sabihin nila, itlog. Nako, if you take a look at the Bible, ano ba ang pinakaunang ginawa or ano ba pinakaunang nilikha ng Panginoon? Di ba? Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Pero sa susunod na mga verses, ano ang nilikha? Yung mga fowls. Okay? Kasali na dyan yung chicken, hindi egg. Hindi nakalagay doon na lumikha yung Panginoon ng itlog. Ay, nako. So, ano ang nauna? Of course, yung chicken. Hindi yung egg. Ay, nako. So, ano ang nauna, mga kadete? Law or yung krimen? Of course, yung batas po ang nauna. So, logomasiha, there is no crime if there is no law. Or, sa Latin po, nolom crimen nolapuina sinelehe. Okay? Nolom crimen nolapuina sinelehe. Ibig sabihin, there is no crime if there is no law. Now, punta tayo sa basic history. Early codes po. There are three main legal systems in the world: Roman, Mohammedan, or Arabic, at saka yung Anglo-American laws. So, ang Roman law po, yun po ang tinatawag natin has the most lasting and most pervading influence. Okay? The Roman private law, which include criminal law, especially has offered the most adequate basic concepts, which sharply define in concise and inconsistent terminology, nature, rules, and a complete system, logical and firm, tempered with a high sense of equity. For sure, siya po ang pinaka-lasting and most pervading influence, yung Roman law po. Yung criminal law po natin has been influenced by this Roman law. Next. Babylonian and Sumerian codes. We have Code of Ornamo. Yun po ang pinaka-oldest known law, pinaka-oldest known law code surviving today. Itong tinatawag ng Code of Ornamo from Mesopotamia. Ang Mesopotamia po, yan po ang Iraq. Iraq po. Yan po ang contemporary name ng Mesopotamia, Iraq. Noong araw, tinatawag siya ang Mesopotamia. Then we also have the Code of Hammurabi, or the King of Hammurabi Code. Ang principle po nito is lex talionis. When we say lex talionis, ibig sabihin dyan, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So pag pinatay yung membro ng pamilya mo, yung pumatay is patayin din po. Because life for life. Yun po, Code of Hammurabi yan. Next. Roman and Greek codes, we have Justinian Code by Emperor Justinian of Rome. An effort to match a desirable amount of punishment to all possible crimes. Pero ang batas po na ito did not survive due to the fall of the Roman Empire. Then, part of it, sa Rome po, yung 12 tables, okay, which represented the earliest codification on Roman law, incorporated into the Justinian Code. It is the foundation of all public and private law of the Romans until the time of Justinian. It is also a collection of legal principles engraved on metal tablets and set up on the forum. Okay? So, yun po, Roman and Greek codes po yan. Next, Greek Code of Draco. Ito po ang isang batas noon sa Greece which contains yung harsh, yung barbarian na punishment sa citizens and slaves pag nag-commit sila ng krimen. Remember na yung Greco po or yung Greeks were the first society to allow any citizen to prosecute the offender in the name of the injured party. Pinakaunang bansa po yung Greece. The first society na nag-aalaw ng kahit sinong tao sa society na mag-prosecute sa offender in the name of the injured party. Next, Burgundian Code, specified punishment according to the social class of offenders, dividing them into nobles, middle class, and lower class. So, iba-iba po yung punishment. Depende po kung ano yung estado mo sa buhay. Pag pobre ka, mas malala yung punishment. Pero pag mayaman ka, mas less yung punishment. Ito po, Burgundian Code. Do not forget it, mga kadete, ha. Sa early codes naman sa Pilipinas, we have yung Spanish Civil Code. Naging effective yan, December 7, 1889. Then, we also have the Código Penal. Yun po ang tinatawag natin ngayong the Revised Penal Code. Kasali ng Código Penal, yung conquistadores, okay, which were introduced to us by the Spaniards. Okay? Pero yung mga batas na ito, again, adopted the Roman law principles. Next, sa mga tribes naman natin, before the Spanish colonization, before the Spanish colonization, nung hindi pa po tayo nagiging colony ng Spain, nagiging colony po tayo, naging sako po tayo ng Espanya 400 for 333 years. 333 years. Yun po ang span of time na naging colony po tayo. So before the Spanish occupation, may tinatawag tayong Code of Kalanchaw. Ito po sa Panay. Very severe po yung punishment nito. Tsaka harsh. The Maragtas Code by Dato Sumakwil and the Sikatuna Law. Okay? Now, so, fast forward po, dumating yung criminal law po natin. Itong revised penal code po natin, ang criminal law. I-define po natin kung ano yung criminal law. Ang criminal law is a branch or division of law which defines crimes, treats of their nature, and provides for their punishment. So ano ba ang criminal law? Isa po siyang branch, division ng isang batas na una po, nagbibigay definition sa katangian ng krimen. Okay, defines crime. Nagbigay definition ng krimen, kung ano po ang pagtrato sa katangian ng krimen, at nagbibigay po ng punishment o nagbibigay po ng penalty. Yan po ang criminal law. Again, nagde-define, nagbigay definition kung ano yung krimen. Pangalawa, ano yung pagtrato sa katangian ng krimen, at nagbigay siya ng punishment. Yan po ang criminal law. Okay? Sources of the criminal law. Una, common law. Pangalawa, statutory. Napaka-easy lang po ang difference po nito. Pag common law po, ibig sabihin yung mga body of customs, practices, traditions, nangangagaling po siya sa divine, natural, at saka sa moral law. Pag statutory naman, ito yung mga batas developed through formal legislative process. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga batas na na-enact sa Congress at saka sa Senate. Nanggaling mismo sa Congress at saka sa Senate. Alright? Also, yung sa Criminal Law Book 1 na explanation ko sa video discussion, I also explain about sources of criminal law. Andun po yung pinaka-comprehensive about this. So, meaning, ang sabi ko kanina, pag walang batas, walang krimen. So, pag may batas, posibleng may krimen. Okay? So, ang krimen refers to acts or omission in violation of the existing law. Act or omission. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng act? Ibig sabihin ng act, yung ginawa mo, in-exert mo. When you punch somebody, that is an act. Omission, on the other hand, yung responsibilidad mo sa gobyerno, responsibilidad mo sa community, pero hindi mo ginampanan yung responsibilidad na yan. Ang tawag dyan, omission. For example, responsibilidad mo po magbayad ng buwis, pero hindi ka nagbayad. Ano yan? Act or omission? Omission. Kasi responsibilidad mo. Pangalawa, failure to give assistance to a dying person. For example motorcycle accident. Na motorcycle accident, it so happen yung driver is your long-time enemy. For the very first time, what a coincidence, naghingi ng tulong yung driver. Sabi sa'yo, oy, Michael, di ba? Tulong, sorry po. Pwede mo bang tulungan? Tulungan ako. But then again, out of your hatred, your grudge against the person, wala ka, lumingon ka lang, dumiretso ka lang. You did not perform your responsibility. Kasi po, responsibilidad ng isang Pinoy na pag may tao po asking for your help and that person is on the verge of death, your responsibility is to give the immediate response. Pero hindi ka nakapag-responde, nako, omission yan. Okay, omission. Pero act, again, you externally demonstrate it, you externally perform it. Stabbing, punching, killing somebody by means of a firearm, mga acts po yan. Okay, klaro po Next, stages in the execution of crime. Sa bawat krimen po, may mga elements po yan. Ang elements po, yun po ang mga requirements that have to be met in order for that act to be considered as this type of crime. Okay, ano ibig sabihin? For example, pag murder, one of the elements, pag murder pinatay mo yung tao, number 2 na element, with treachery, okay? So yun po, example lang po for the elements of murder. So, pag hindi na-meet yung elements, hindi mo na-perform lahat ng elements of the crime, ang tawag doon is attempted stage. You did not perform all the elements necessary for the execution of the felony. Number 2, frustrated. Ang frustrated, ginawa mo, ine-execute mo lahat ng acts in order to constitute a crime. Pero, mayroong isang factor that is independent, that cause independent of the will of the perpetrator. Isa po siyang factor that diminishes or that prevents the consummation of the crime. Ibig sabihin, pinerform mo lahat pero out of a factor that is independent of the will of the perpetrator, ang lahat ng elements ay hindi na-perform. Okay? Na-perform mo na sana, na-execute mo na sana, pero may isang factor. For example, you wanted to kill somebody. Let us say si Juan. You have a lot of anger against Juan. So, dahil sa galit mo, what you did is one night, inabangan mo ngayon si Juan, you hid yourself in the bushes. So may damo ka. Doon ka po nag-hide. So, pagdating ngayon ni Juan, let us say 11 o'clock in the evening, kumuha ka ng firearm. Binaril mo si Juan. Pagbaril mo ni Juan, natamaan si Juan sa ulo. Okay? So basically, lahat ng acts po were performed for murder to be consummated. Okay? Kasi nga po, natamaan sa ulo eh. Patay na sana si Juan. So, after natamaan si Juan sa ulo, dinala siya ngayon doon sa hospital. Pero may isang factor na nag-prevent po sa consummation of the crime. Kasi po ang factor na yan, si Juan nakasurvive. It's a miracle or it's the survival of Juan on that criminal act is the basis that the crime will be considered as a frustrated stage. Okay? Under frustrated stage po siya. Bakit po? Frustrated kasi nga po may isang factor that is independent of the will of the perpetrator. That causes the crime not to be consummated. Pero pag na-perform lahat, namatay si Juan, binaril mo out of treachery, ang tawag po dyan is consummated stage po. Okay? Consummated stage. Alright? These are the stages of the execution of crime. Next! Ito mga kaniti, marami po ang lalabas dito ha. Talagang napakarami pong lalabas dito. Mga legal classification of crimes, napakarami po kasi tayong categories. So many categories po. Unang category dyan, according to the law violated. Pag acts and omissions po na nag-violate ng revised penal code or criminal law, yung criminal law po kasi natin, may book 2 yan. Andun po yung lahat ng krimen, yung treason, sedition, and then dyan din po yung murder, homicide, infanticide, so on and so forth. Pag nasa revised penal code yung krimen, ang tawag dyan is felony. Okay? Violations of the revised penal code. Pero pag acts and omissions are violations of the city or municipal ordinance. Ang sabi dito, city or municipal ordinance, ang tawag po dyan, misdemeanor or infraction. Pag ang acts or omission violates the special laws, ano ba yung mga special laws para sa mga first year ha? Special laws po, ito yung mga batas na enacted by the Senate or the Congress. Ito po yung mga Republic Acts. Bakit tinawag siyang special? Special kasi, ang batas na ito only regulates a specific group of persons. Specific group of persons po. For example, Republic Act 11131. Ang Republic Act 11131 is regulating po sa specific group of people. Ano ba yung specific group na people? Under Republic Act 11131, yung mga criminology people. So basically, ang 11131 will not regulate education students. It will not regulate those persons who are IT, COMSI, or probably HRM, or business education, or probably agriculture. Hindi po sila kasali sa batas kasi po, ang special group being regulated in that law is only criminology people. Yan po. Tinatawag siyang Republic Act or special law. Okay? I hope klaro ha. Ang tao po na nag-commit ng felony, tawagin po siyang felon. Mga kadete, felon po ang tawag. F-E-L-O-N, felon. Tapos yung nag-commit ng misdemeanor, tawag niya misdemeanant. Okay? Felon, misdemeanant. Yung nag-commit ng offense, tawagin siyang offender. Okay? Next, according to the manner of commission. Okay? According to the manner of commission, iba naman itong classification na ito. Pwede siyang dolo, or deceit, culpa, or fault. Para madaling ma-memorize, lagyan po natin ng mnemonics po para madaling ma-memorize. Pag dodi po, dodi. Ibig sabihin ng dodi, dolo, deceit. Dolo, deceit. Pag dolo, deceit, ibig sabihin dyan, intentional, deliberate, voluntary. Okay? Voluntary po. Pero pag kufa, ibig sabihin ng kufa, culpa, fault. Okay? Kufa. Sa nagre-review right now ha, kufa, culpa, fault, ibig sabihin, hindi intentional. But rather, considered siya na lack of foresight, negligence, imprudence, lack of skill, or unintentional. For short, sabihin dinangag or dangag kang dako. Ha? Right? Reckless. Yan po sa in English. So, culpa or fault. Next, according to stage, ito, formal at saka material crime. Pag ang isang krimen is consummated in one instant, ang tawag po formal. For short, ito po ang krimen na walang attempted tsaka walang frustrated. Ang tawag sa kanya, formal crime. For example, slander. Ang slander, wala yang attempted slander, walang frustrated slander, automatic yan. Slander, consummated agad. Pag estafa naman, binigyan ka ng pera, yung pera po is in your possession. Ipinagkatiwala po sa iyo yung pera, tapos yung ginawa mo, you escape from the scene, di ka na matrace, ginastos mo yung pera, that's basically estafa. Estafa has no attempted tsaka frustrated. Automatic po siyang consummated po na stage. Alright? Yung failure to render assistance on a person on the verge of death or a dying person, still wala po yung frustrated at attempted. So basically, formal crime po. Pero pag ang krimen po, may 3 stages, may attempted, may frustrated stage, may consummated. For example, may attempted murder, frustrated murder, consummated murder. So basically, ang murder is basically a material crime. Alright? Next, according to plurality, pwede siyang simple, pwedeng complex crime. Simple crime, ibig sabihin dyan, isa lang na offense. For example, murder. It's one offense. Homicide, it's just one offense. So basically, simple crime po ang tawag. Pero pag dalawang krimen siya mga kadete, first year ha, paminaw. Dalawang krimen, pero isa lang yung penalty, isa lang din po yung complaint or kaso. Ang tawag po dyan, complex crime. For example, when you say reckless imprudence resulting to homicide, that's a complex crime. When you say robbery with homicide, that's still a part of the complex crime. Or when you say estafa through falsification of documents, that is still a complex crime. All right. Next, according to result, dalawa po, pwede seasonal. Ibig sabihin ng seasonal, nangyayari lang po siya on certain period of the year. Seasonal po. Pag situational, pag mayroong situation. Okay? So, situational crime. According to period of commission, instant crime, ito po yung tinatawag natin simple crime kanina po. Episodal crimes, ito po yung tinatawag natin complex crime kanina. Next, according to location, pag static crimes, yung crimen committed in one place only. Pero continuing crimes, yung committed in several places. Okay? Continuing crimes po ang tawag dyan. For example, let's say, pumunta ka ngayon sa Purok Ono, nagnakaw ka sa bahay ni Juan, tapos ang nakuha mo doon is only 5,000 pesos, pero ang target mo is 70,000 para makapagbili ka ng iPhone 14. 5,000 lang yung nakuha mo, so pumunta ka ngayon sa bahay ni Maria. Pagdating mo doon, nakakuha ka ng 65,000. So, it's a continuing crime. Next, according to mental faculties, rational or irrational. Pag rational, ibig sabihin, yung tao is normal. Position of sanity. Ibig sabihin ng sanity, may makapag-isip ka. You know what is wrong and what is right. Normal ka nga tao. Rational crime po. Pero pag ang tao, abnormal, suffering from insanity, for example, buang, tapos pinatay niya yung taong naglalakad, for example, probably 3 months, I think it happened in September 2023 po. Yung babae po was just standing in Dumaguete City. Tapos may biglang somebody who is suffering probably by psychological disorder, nagdala ng kutsilyo, sinaksak yung babae, namatay yung babae. It's an example of irrational crime. Pag ang tao po is irrational or wala po sa pag-iisip. Next. According to the type of offenders, it could be white collar o blue collar. White collar, ibig sabihin, yung mga krimen committed by persons in the upper socio-economic status. Yung mga professional, yung mga buwaya sa gobyerno, nagko-commit ng corruption, mga white-collar crimes po yan, yung kinocommit nila. Yung corruption, that's an example, committed by these persons on the upper socio-economic status. Nagbabayad tayo ng buwis, at the end of the day, nako, ultimong daan, ultimong roadway natin, hindi na-maintain. Especially yung mga LGUs, shout out, Municipality of Saton, yung namin, yung municipality namin sa Negros Oriental. Nako, kasi hindi kaalyado yung kapitan, kahit magbabayad ka ng 40,000, every year I paid lot of a big amount for the taxes, pero parang walang nangyari sa barangay namin. White collar crimes, yung mga buwaya sa government, shout out po sa inyo. Next, blue collar crimes, ito yung mga ordinaryong tao lang. Okay? Yung mga fishermen, farmers, right? Mga pobre. Next, according to the nature of acts prohibited, pwede malainsip, tsaka yung mala-prohibita. Okay? Malainsi, ibig sabihin, yung nature niya is really evil. Kahit walang batas na nag-regulate, alam mo na that is really evil. For example, pag murder, kahit pa noong araw, di ba, during our first parents, si Adam at saka Eve, di ba nagkaanak sila, si Abel at si Cain? Shout out sa marunong magbasa ng Bible, Andyan si Cain at saka si Abel. Noong araw, wala pong criminal law. Pero pinatay ni Cain si Abel. Pagpatay niya ngayon sa kanyang kapatid, alam po niya that what he did was actually wrong. Kahit walang batas. Kasi po, ang pagpatay by its nature is really bad or evil. So, yan po, murder, homicide, yun po, mga malainsi yan. Yung mga batas po that violates the revised penal code, yung criminal law, yan po, mga malainsi yan. Pero yung mga batas na nag-violate sa mga special laws, mala-prohibita po yan ang tawag. Okay? For example, mandatory helmet law. Di ba? May batas sa mandatory helmet. Ang hindi paglagay ng helmet sa ulo ng driver, evil ba yan by its nature? The answer is no. Evil ba pag hindi ka nag-helmet? Hindi po yan evil by its nature. Pero nagiging evil yan kasi po may batas na nag-regulate it. On the other hand, when you say, you spit in public, diba? Sa mga damak. Pag nag-spit ka, dumudura ka in public. Di ba ang pagdura is not evil? Hindi po yan evil. It only becomes evil kasi po may ordinansa, may batas. Okay? So, mala-prohibita po ang tawag. Pero yung mga krimen that violates the revised penal code, robbery, alam po natin that robbery or stealing is basically evil by its nature. Next. According to the gravity of penalty, it could be grave, less grave, or light penalties. Okay? Ito po, mga kadete po, mga first year, dapat ma-memorize nyo po ito. Arresto minor, yung punishment po dyan is 1 day to 30 days. Sunod sa arresto minor is arresto mayor. Arresto mayor is 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. Sunod sa arresto mayor is presyon correctional. Presyon correctional is 6 months and 1 day to 6 years. Sunod, presyon mayor, 6 years and 1 day to 12 years. Sunod sa presyon mayor is reclusion temporal, 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. Sunod sa reclusion temporal is reclusion perpetua, 20 years and 1 day to 40 years po ang imprisonment dyan. Now, pag ang punishment niya is arresto minor, ma-classify po ang isang crime as under light offense or light penalty. Pero pag ang penalty niya is from arresto mayor to prison correctional, ang tawag po is less grave felonies or correctional penalties. Pareho lang po yan. Pag capital punishment, ano ibig sabihin ng capital punishment? May tinatawag kasi tayong Republic Act 7659 or the death penalty law. Pero wala na po tayong death penalty ngayon ha. Pero nung araw, pag death po, ibig sabihin capital punishment po yan. Pag afflictive penalties, ano ba ang afflictive penalties? From prison mayor to reclusion perpetua. So, from prison mayor to reclusion perpetua, ang tawag po dyan, grave penalties. So, yung mga krimen is grave felonies. Next, legal classification of crime. Ito po, may crimes against national security, may crimes against person, crimes against morals, crimes against property, crimes against chastity, crimes against civil status of persons. Ito po ang mga titles. Tawag po nito mga titles po. So, pag title 1, crimes against national security and the law of nations, we have treason, espionage, piracy. Andyan po yan sa criminal law book 2. You can refer to book 2 po, mga kadete ha, first year, para at least maintindihan nyo po. Pero ito po ha, mga titles po yan. So, pag murder, that's crimes against person. Pag theft naman, robbery, that's crimes against property. Pag concubinage or adultery, that's crimes against chastity. Okay? Next. Classification of criminals according to the revised penal code. I think I discussed this one sa Biqueno Online. Ang Biqueno Online po, yun po ang platform sa Facebook po natin. It's a Facebook page po. Doon po ang rationalization. But I'd like to discuss this again in this subject. 4 po ang classification dyan. Recidivist, quasi-recidivist, habitual delinquent, reiteration, or habituality. Now, ganito po makinig po mga first year. Sa nagre-review right now na hindi pa nakaintindi kasi yung instructor mo panay absent, makinig po. Pag recidivist, quasi, habitual, reiteration, isa po ang common dyan. Ang common is that the person has been convicted of a previous offense. Convicted of a previous offense. Pag hindi convicted of a previous offense, walang classification. Pag hindi convicted pag detainee pa lang sa previous offense, detainee pa kasi wala pang conviction, walang classification. Previously convicted Okay, recidivist. Previously convicted of a crime, paglabas niya ngayon kasi tapos na siya sa sentence or tapos na in serving the sentence, pagdating niya sa community, nag-commit siya ng another crime. Pangalawang krimen. Ang pangalawang krimen na na-commit niya is of the same title. Diba? Kanina, I talked to you about the title of the revised penal code. Title of crimes. The same title of the revised penal code. For example, unang krimen niya is murder. Convicted siya sa murder. After serving the sentence, lumabas siya ngayon, nag-commit siya na tinatawag natin parricide. Pinatay niya yung magulang niya. That's parricide. Ang parricide at saka murder are contained on the same title of the revised penal code. Nasa the same title po yan, crimes against person. So basically, ang tao po is known as recidivist. Okay? Another example, noong una, nag-commit siya ng homicide. Nag-convicted siya. Pag-serve ng sentence siya, pagkatapos bumalik siya sa community, nag-commit ulit siya ng tinatawag nating serious physical injury. Binubog niya ngayon yung kapitbahay niya. Ang serious physical injury at saka yung homicide, same title pa din yan, crimes against person. So, ang tao po is matawag na recidivist. Question. Sir, what if nung una is murder ang nakomit niya? Pangalawang krimen niya is robbery. Ang robbery is crimes against person, crimes against property yan, di ba? Robbery. Ang murder is crimes against person. So, basically, iba-iba yung title nila. So, anong tawag niya? Recidivist ba? Ang sagot, hindi. Anong tawag sa tao? Ang tawag niya is reiteration or habituality. Kuha po? Reiteration or habituality. Okay? So, tapos na po tayo sa recidivist at saka reiteration or habituality. Alright? Sa reiteration, iba po yung titles. Sa quasi-recidivist naman, ang sabi dito, nag-commit ka ng convicted ka on the previous offense. After you have been convicted, the person committed a crime before or during the service of the sentence. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng before? Ibig sabihin, pag sabi ng korte, you are found guilty, I-deliver ka ngayon sa jail. Pero before you arrive in the jail, nakapag-escape ka. Evasion of sentence is basically a crime. So, wala ka pa, hindi ka pa nakapag-serve, nag-commit ka ng krimen, ang tawag sa'yo, quasi-recidivist. Number 2, nagsiserve ka pa lang ng sentence. For example, murder. Murder ha, let's say, murder nga yung conviction mo. Pagdating mo doon sa prisuhan, while nag-serve ka ng sentence, you kill somebody again. Ano ang tawag sa'yo? Recidivist or quasi? Ang tawag po, quasi, kasi po, nasa kulungan ka, nagsiserve ka ng sentence. Pero as I have told you, pag detained ka pa po, for example si Juan de la Cruz, detained siya because of the commission of murder. Nung nakadetain siya, pinatay niya ngayon yung jail staff. Ang question, quasi-recidivist ba o recidivist? Ang sagot, walang classification kasi nga po, nakadetain pa, hindi pa po siya convicted on the first offense. Kailangan convicted ka on the first offense. Next, habitual delinquent, ito yung mga taong convicted on the first offense, tapos sa pangatlong hindi pangalawa, pangatlong pagkakataon or offender. Ano bang offender? Sa pang-4, pang-5, or pang-6. Pero ang requirement natin is pangatlo. So, pangatlong pagkakataon, nag-commit siya on the following crimes. 5 po yan. Serious physical injury, less serious physical injury, robbery, estafa, falsification of documents. Pag nakakommit ka in either one of the 5 crimes for the 3rd time or offender, ano ang classification? Habitual delinquent. Okay? Klaro. Klarong-klaro yan. Next, crime volume. Ano ba yung crime volume? Ito po yung mga krimen na nangyayari sa isang lugar over a period of time that includes index crime and non-index crime. Ano ba yung index crime? O ito ito lang yung index crime. Nyo memorize. Sa mag-take ng board examination, i-memorize nyo ito Murder, homicide, that's number 2. 3, serious physical injury. 4, less serious physical injury. 5, carnapping. 6, cattle rustling. 7, robbery. 8, theft. 9, rape. Index crime po, lahat. Ano ba yung cattle rustling? Yung nagdakaw ka ng cattle. Ano ba yung cattle? Yung cattle po, yung definition dyan, yung mga animals po belonging to the bovine family. Ano ba yung bovine? Yung mga kabayo, karabaw, cows, yun po. Pero pag kambing yan, at saka yung manok, hindi po yan nabilong sa bovine family. So, yung cattle rustling, robbery, so on and so forth. Yun lang po ang index crime. Yung hindi nabilong sa index crime, tinatawag siyang non-index crime. Okay? Next, crime rate. Ang crime rate naman, ang formula po natin, lumabas ito, 2013 board examination. Number of crimes divided by population times 100,000. Yung 100,000 po dyan is constant. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung number of crimes mo, let's say, for example, is 58,100. Tapos, ang population is 38 million, 0.8. So, you divide it. So, basically, ang sagot ngayon is, crime rate mo is 149.6 per 100,000 general population. So, ibig sabihin, sa kada 100,000 na population, may 149 na krimen po na na-commit o nangyayari. Alright? Next, crime solution efficiency. Ibig sabihin ng crime solution efficiency, ito po yung mga krimen considered to be solved. Solved cases. Okay? So, solved cases divided by crime volume multiplied by 100. Alright? So, ang crime solution efficiency, iba din po sa crime clearance. Yung crime clearance is yung mga crime cleared or case cleared. Iba kasi ang case cleared at saka yung crime solved or case solved. Pero pareho lang yung formula. Alright? Divided by crime volume pa din po, multiplied by 100. Ano ba ang pagkakaiba dyan? Isa lang ang pagkakaiba dyan, mga kadete. Punta mo natin sa similarity Similarity dyan, mga nagre-review right now, na-identify yung offender, na-charge yung offender, may ebidensya, tapos, nag-file na ng complaint doon sa prosecutor's office. Pero ang pinagkakaiba dyan, ganito lang po. In the case solved, okay? In the case closed. In the case closed po, Ibig sabihin dyan that the offender is already in the custody. Okay? Custody. A case is cleared when at least one of the offenders has been identified. There is sufficient evidence to charge the suspect and he has been charged before the prosecutor's office. When a case is no longer being investigated and is not assigned to an investigator, the case is closed. A closed case can either be solved or unsolved. So basically, ang difference lang po is very simple. Case solved po, ang isang suspect is nasa kustodiya na. But if the suspect is still at large, nasa labas pa po, ang tawag po is case cleared. Pero pareho siya ng similarity, pareho siya ng nature. Ang similarities po again, the offender has already been charged, the offender has been identified, may complaint na po sa prosecutor's office, nakapag-file na. Pero again, sa case solved, yung offender nasa labas pa lang. Meaning nasa kustodiya na. Nasa kustodiya na, to be very clear. Pero sa case cleared, yung offender po nasa labas pa po. At large pa lang. Okay? Next, last po, Republic Act 11131. This is known as the Philippine Criminology Profession Act of 2018. Yung previous po na batas that regulates the criminology profession is yung Republic Act 6506. Nawala na po yung 6506, pinalitan po ng 11131. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng registered criminologist? Ito po yung mga taong may valid certificate of registration and an updated professional identification card. Okay? Issued by the Professional Regulation Commission or the PRC. Yan po, registered criminologist. Abbreviation po natin is RCRIM. Capital R, capital C, R-I-M. RCRIM. Okay? Scope of practice po, mga employment opportunities po ito sa mga first-year students. These are the job opportunities po sa criminology. Pwede ka maging law enforcement administrator, executive, advisor, consultant, investigator, so on and so forth sa mga government agencies. Pwede ka magiging professor or instructor or teacher sa university. Pero ang i-handle mo lang is yung mga criminology subjects. Pwede ka maging technician, criminalist, or dactylographer, sa question document, pwede din po. Pwede ka sa correctional administration, executive, supervisor, blah, blah, blah. Pwedeng counselor, consultant, lahat po ng makikita nyo sa slide. Andyan po, employment opportunities po dyan. Pag nagka-blessed po tayo sa employment opportunities po natin, so ibig sabihin, you can choose any type of job. Pag nagkaswerte po tayo sa board examination rather, you can choose any po. Pero pag nagkamalas-malas po, pag nagkamalas-malas, andyan naman yung letter F, private investigator, administrator, consultant, detective, or you can become a private security guard. Pwede po, security guard. Letter F po. Pero pag naman, tiwala sa sarili at tiwala sa Diyos, yan po ang magdadala natin sa success po natin. Alright? Sa 11131, dyan po yung Professional Regulatory Board for Criminologists, a collegial body po under the administrative supervision and control of the PRC. 4 po na membro at saka isang chairperson. 5 po lahat yan all appointed by the President of the Philippines. 5 po lahat isang chairman at saka yung 5 membro po. So sila po ang mag-oversee or mag-supervise po. Sila din po ang in charge sa pag-conduct po ng criminologist licensure examination. Privileges po sa registered criminologist, pag nakapasa po kayo, mga first year at saka yung mag-take ng board examination, lahat po, pwede dito sa makikita nyo sa slide, pwede ka po mag-apply as ballistation, forensic photographer, probation, so on and so forth, without necessarily taking the entrance or qualifying government examination. So pag mag-a-apply ka sa Coast Guard, no need for entrance exam. Sa BFP, no need for entrance exam. Pag sa police, no need for entrance exam. Kasi nga po, you are a passer. Pero pag hindi ka passer, ay nako, mag-take ka ng entrance exam. Pero passer ka, no need po. On the other hand, ang pinakamaganda po dito na provision is on preferential appointment po in government, criminal justice, and other government institution. Ang sabi po dito, na pag-registered criminologist ka, prioritize ka dapat. Hoy, shout out, Region 7 ha, PNP. Dapat po, prioritize yung criminologist. Yan po ang sabi ng Republic Act 11131. Kayo naman mga first year students, second year, third year, fourth year, kaya nga hindi tayo pinaprioritize, kaya hindi tayo marunong mag-English. Kayo dyan, you practice your English communication. You practice your lexical accuracy, yung mga vocabulary po natin. The manner of speaking is very, 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 very important po mga kalite. You try to speak in English all the time. Pag nasa eskwelahan po kayo, you speak in English. Try to practice, try to amplify your lexical accuracy. Kasi nga po, kaya hindi tayo pinaprioritize in real life, kahit may batas. Ha? Kasi, ang lalaki ng katawan nyo, pero pagdating naman po sa public speaking, wale kayo. Hindi kayo marunong mag-English. Walang confidence in speaking in English. Try to practice. Kaya nga, tinatawag tayo mga bobo kasi nga hindi tayo marunong mag-English. Kasi, some of the students usually observe us being very timid and meek inside the class. So ito ang challenge ko po sa inyo sa mga first year you speak in English all the time. Try to think and speak in English all the time. Practice. It is okay if you tend to stutter, or probably you tend to be nervous, or sometimes the way we speak in English, it's not in the correct grammar. Okay lang po yan. Pag pinag-usapan po tayo, become the subject of gossip, kasi po yung English natin is out of context, that is okay. So long as you practice po in speaking in English. Yun po ang realidad. So, let us practice speaking in English, mga kanite. Yan po ang challenge ko po sa inyo. Pero sa batas po natin, Republic Act 113, hindi po nagsabi dito na pag hindi ka marunong mag-English, you will not be prioritized. Sabi dito, pag registered criminologist ka, you should be prioritized kasi nasa batas yan. Pero para hindi po tayo mahiya, mga kadete, speak in English. Sharpen your vocabulary skills. Next, lateral entry of registered criminologist. Registered criminologists who are not in government service shall be eligible and given preference for appointment via lateral entry. So tayo po, pwede po tayo makapag-lateral entry sa PNP, sa fire, sa jail, sa PDI, NBI po. Kasi po, parte po yan as one of the benefits of registered criminologists. So yun po. Alright? So, lahat po ng topics are already covered, mga kadete. I'd like to end this subject. I'd like to end the discussion by saying that the distance between passing and studying is the same distance between your knees and the ground. Dapat po mag-pray tayo always. Kasi nga po, we need the divine intervention in passing po sa lahat po ng mga challenges and obstacles in life. In passing the board examination, prayer is the most important weapon. 99% is faith, 1% would be knowledge from us, yung personal knowledge po natin. But then again, yung spirit from above po is what we need in passing the board examination. Maraming salamat po sa pagsubaybay, and for those persons not skipping ads, maraming salamat. God bless everyone, and then see you po on the other video discussion. Next target po natin is police photography and criminal law book 2. Maraming salamat po.